turns around and he says to the ladies, "Don't worry, I will take her to her hotel. I understood everything you had to say. I'm Israeli." 2 weeks later, my daughter was going to a convention, and I called him, and he picked her up, and he took her to her hotel. So we
You never know.
But not all Israelis speak Yiddish.
I know, but this guy happened to speak Yiddish.
Wow, you were lucky.
Yeah.
Well,
Where was
yeah.
that convention wasn't at the Concord?
Actually, it was at the Concord, but we came in, Pacific Southwest came in early. We stayed at a hotel. We went to 2 shows. We went to different things. We went to the office and saw what it looked like. You know,
I see. You came into New York.
The old office. Old.
Okay. Thank you for that. Sorry, Dina. We're going to mute everyone and get started because it is noon. Let's see. I'm allowing you all to unmute. It's nice to see you all. Welcome. Hope everybody is well and healthy. And I have to say, Toby and I were a little nervous here because Rabbi just got on and we were wondering if she's coming because she's teaching today. So I'm sure we would have filled up our time, but it's nice to see you, Rabbi. Glad you're here.
I would never miss if I told you I was teaching.
Not on purpose, I know. So I just got a message from Ruth that Jean Bernholz's husband, Chaim, passed away in the funerals tomorrow. Jean is past Ontario Region past president. So we'll make sure that, thank you, Ruth, for that information. We'll make sure that we get something out to her from the office and from Women's League, extending our condolences. I do not remember her. I'm sure many of you on the phone do remember her. But thank you, Ruth, for sharing that. We always appreciate that kind of information so we can reach out to our, leadership and our members. So thank you for that. So nice day today. A lot of our regulars are participating. I know Amy is reading the list, and last are going to read the song.
Deb, you need to talk to the microphone. We can't hear you.
It seems that I'm having a problem with my computer all week. People are saying that to me. Thank you. Where shall I start all over again?
You started by telling people who's going to do what today.
Okay.
Okay.
I have to say, honestly, no one really has ever told me that I haven't been loud enough in my life. So it's been an unusual week for me. A real unusual week. I must have a problem with my computer, so I will take care of that. Thank you. So Amy is singing and Arlene Fisher is reading the list. Susan Sparris and Ribby Blass are reading the psalm. So thank you everyone for participating. And Sally says there's a first time for everyone. Well, Sally, all I can say is it's good to be among friends when that happens.
Okay, ready?
We're ready.
Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Amen. Yisheberach imotenu mekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Yashakochech. Thank you, Amy, and thank you for volunteering. When I looked yesterday, we didn't have anybody on there, so I'm glad that you wrote down and I was able to look it up, and Debbie knew as well. So Psalm 82, Susan and Rivy, you could decide who's going to do even and odd.
Rivi, do you want to start or you want me to start? I guess I'll start. A Psalm of Asaph. God rises in the court of the mighty, pronouncing judgment over the judges. Is she here? There she is.
Yes, she is. She's just unmuting.
Muted.
I could tell she's doing that. I'm trying to figure out how to unmute. Look.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Okay. How long will you pervert justice? How long will you favor the wicked? Selah.
Champion the weak and the orphan. Uphold the downtrodden and destitute.
Rescue the weak and the needy. Save them from the grip of the wicked.
But they neither know nor understand. They wander about in darkness while the earth's foundations are shaken.
I thought you were godlike, children of the Most High.
But you will die like mortals. Like any prince will you fall.
Arise, O God, and judge the earth, for your dominion is over all nations.
Yasha kochech to both of you. Thank you for reading our psalm today. Tuesday is always a very short psalm. So just as a heads up, we have someone teaching tomorrow. Unfortunately, I have an appointment during this time tomorrow, but you'll be all covered. And the last time I looked, I think we still needed someone to teach on Friday. And there are other dates that you can sign up to teach. Yep, we
Rabbi
still need
Ellen,
someone
it's-
Friday. Yes,
It's Debbie Lempert, and I'm going to prepare a teaching unless somebody today wants it.
gotcha. Very good. And I'll put it out there that even though I'm streaming on Facebook, if you need some text to prepare, I can always arrange it for you to get it electronically if you want to teach. So Debbie, thank you. But if anybody else wants to teach, that would be fantastic. So we're up to chapter 3, the 22nd teaching. We're almost finished with this chapter. It was an interesting teaching. Sometimes some of them wow me, and this one didn't wow me, but I was just thinking how it would have been more appropriate if you ever need to teach something on Tu B'Shvat, this is a really good teaching for Tu B'Shvat because you'll see it talks about trees. So it just starts with he, but we can infer that it was the teacher in the previous Mishnah, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, who you remember he was one of the rabbis sitting in Bnei Brak teaching about how long Passover was, and then they reminded him that it's time for the morning Shema, and it's in the Haggadah. You'll read it in a couple of weeks. So he used to say, anyone whose wisdom exceeds their good deeds, to what are they likened? To a tree whose branches are numerous, but whose roots are few. Then the wind comes and uproots it and turns it upside down, as it is said, and they shall be like an isolated tree in an arid land, and shall not see when good comes. They shall dwell on parched soil in the wilderness, on a salted land, uninhabited. From the book of Jeremiah. But one whose deeds exceed their wisdom, to what are they likened? To a tree whose branches are few, but whose roots are numerous. Even if all the winds in the world were to come and blow against it, they could not budge it from its place, as it is said, and they shall be like a tree planted by waters toward the stream spreading its roots, and it shall not notice the heat's arrival, and its foliage shall be fresh. In the year of drought, it shall not worry, nor shall it cease from yielding fruit. Also from Jeremiah, just a few verses after the first one. So it's discussing here the idea of which is more important in a way, wisdom, or wisdom meaning chokhmah. And if Beth's on, I'll get back to you about the kamatz katan of saying O for chokhmah, not chachma. And the comparing chokhmah, wisdom, to ma'asim, to good deeds. So which is more important? Which should you have? In my opinion, when I first read it, it was almost counterintuitive to me to think that it's saying that if your wisdom is greater than your good deeds, the branches are numerous, the roots are few, the wind comes and it just pushes it away. If you don't have those good deeds, or ma'asim tovim, to root you in, you're going to fall apart. You're going to be knocked over. It reminds me of an older tree that might be really, really old, but it can stay there for a really long time. There was one in not far from my old house that it was amazing. And then I think about the new tree that was planted outside of my house that's skinny and doesn't have many roots. And with one snowstorm, it blew over and we have to replant it. So then he's saying in here, if your wisdom exceeds your deed, whose deeds exceed their wisdom, then it's better. It sounds like this is the tree that's branches are few, but the roots are embedded. So what does that mean? That your deeds are better. I think about how the roots, if you've ever walked by and you've seen the roots of a tree that are so big that you step on it and you don't even realize that the tree was over like a couple of feet away, and the branches and the roots are so long because they're outstretched. When you have good deeds, it's a ripple effect. You help one person, you help another. It's a continual, that it's one person helps another, helps another. If someone helped me, I'm like, wow, that's fantastic. The next time I see somebody else in that situation, I'm going to help them. So if you have more ma'asim tovim, you reach more people. The roots reach more people as well. So I'm trying, as you all will realize, that we're going to really try to do this and finish everything before 12:30. So I'm going to get to the crux of the idea and then discuss a little bit more. And I always over prepare. And if you want to read more, there's always so much more to read. So wisdom just has an end to it. If you need to pass on the wisdom to somebody else. And that doesn't always happen. You know, people who, I'm going to stop sharing so I can see people. There's some who study, but don't bring their ideas to other people. But with doing ma'asim tovim, good deeds, it's almost like you have to do it in relationship to somebody else in a way. If you donate, and even if the person you're giving to is anonymous, so many of us have no idea who the food we're giving. If we're giving in a food pantry, you don't know. If you're in a food kitchen, you might actually see the smile on the person eating the food. But you know that what you're doing is helping someone else. If you're donating food or clothing, you know that somebody else will be enjoying that. But when you're sitting and learning in the chokhmah, where does that transfer to? If you don't do anything with it, it doesn't go anywhere. So we have to think about when you learn something. It's also Torah. It's one of the discussions said that, but what about Torah lishma, the Torah for Torah's sake? And that is also true. But if you can apply it, I've always thought, I challenged my Gemara teachers, my Talmud teachers at JTS when they would teach us about if an Arel, if a non-circumcised person can bring truma, a certain sacrifice on a certain day or holiday. I'm like, what is this related to? This doesn't even make sense today. I always wanted the learning to be relevant to life today. And that's where the wisdom, you have to put it into relevance. And how do you take the relevance of what you're learning? You do something with it. Someone wrote to me recently, there's Marjorie, I hope you don't mind me saying, that she told me that she was discussing what we learned yesterday with her husband. And it made me so happy that and I remembered who it was, that you're bringing the knowledge to somebody else, what you learned. But the Ma'asim Tovim, it's good if you do acts of kindness in relationship to somebody else. So this Shabbat, Susan and my rabbi, his children, he has twins, have their B'nai Mitzvah. And they're encouraging everyone to get active and involved in it. My mother too, she goes to that shul. That they're getting food for Phil, for a food bank that's in the Monmouth County area. And they're not just collecting money. They had times that you could come to the shul and donate the food, like our Stock the Shelves. It gets everyone involved in doing it. And that's something that everyone could do. You bring your little grandchild and either they can soon will be able to go into stores more readily, or have them point something out and say, what do you want grandma to buy at the store to donate? Or we have a whole list of Stock the Shelves of what we're going to be doing. So that is our roots of action, of doing something. Our roots are also learning for sure, and the branches out, but it's really about what we're doing. I was thinking about it. So one of the mitzvot that's really difficult to get the concept of, in my opinion, if you haven't done it, is wrapping tefillin. You might see somebody wrap tefillin for decades, but till you take those straps and put it on your own arm and put it on your own head, you have no idea what it really feels like to do that. And it's that mitzvah that you can learn about, but to really go and do it. So I'm curious if there's any other activity in Judaism that you've learned about that you have now put into practice to do, and it makes all the difference. I mean, it's a mitzvah to eat. It's part of our ritual of eating challah on Shabbat. But I'm looking at Edna on my top picture. Nice background from Torah Fun. I like that for the Legacy Society. And actually having baked challah, and I'm not a baker, I'm not a cook either, but to actually have gone and done that and braided, usually my kids, if they do it, they let me do the braiding because I'm good with that. It's a difference to do that. So what other mitzvot? Has anyone built a sukkah? And it's totally different when you've built your own sukkah and then sit in it. That pride of saying, I did that sukkah. So yes, Barbara Finkel.
So this might sound a little funny, but I have to say, teaching these Pirkei Avot, which I've done now 3 times, it has been amazing. It is so much different to actually do the reading and to do the learning and to do the research and to decide which parts of this do I want to bring to this group of 70 wonderful women in 15 minutes when you could go on for 2 hours. So I thank you for that opportunity, and that I consider that a mitzvah. And so that's my example for today.
No, that's great. I love that. Talmud Torah, learning Torah, and then actually giving it to somebody else. My daughter is having the experience of tutoring someone in Colorado for her bat mitzvah.
Wow.
And you might be able to like read Torah, but to teach somebody else how to do it, that's totally different. Amy Schwartz, who teaches people.
When I had my adult bat mitzvah at the age of 40-ish, and it was the first, and I had made the decision at that point to wear talit. And so I went with my mother to our local Judaica shop, and I picked out a talit that was going to be meaningful. And the first time I put on that talit was a very holy moment, and it opened that door to, just feeling embraced by God and by the experience of the bat mitzvah. And now, I have several, and my next goal is to learn how to put on the big one. So that was one of those kind of experiences for me, putting on a talit.
Very true. And also, if anyone has ever, definitely putting on the talit. I remember the first time I did. And Sally, and then Marjorie, just one other thing. And then if you've ever tied tzitzit, to actually wear the talis or to tie tzitzit for someone else. There was a bat mitzvah girl who I tied her tzitzit, and it was just like great to see her in the talit that her mother and she had made, and then to see those knots together. So Sally, Marjorie, and Marcia, and then we'll have to wrap, and Jeanette, and then we'll wrap up. I just try to make it short so we can really be in the 12:30 time.
My experience was my first trip to Israel and going to the wall for the first time. I could not go up to the wall because I was in such awe, I didn't know what to say. But when I went back and I touched the wall, it came to me. I knew what to say, and it was the Shema, and it was an experience I just will never forget.
Very true. Beautiful. And may we do it again soon, maybe together as women.
Amen.
At the Kotel on Women of the Wall, perhaps, to go together. Marjorie.
I just wanted to elaborate on a previous statement. I started going to conventions, and I was a waif because I was the only one from my area, literally, and I was adopted by a wonderful woman named Sharon Shorten. And from that moment on, we were roommates and whatnot. And every convention, she was buying a new talit, or she was buying one for her daughter with musical notes on it or whatever, because she teaches music. And I would stare at these things and think, because I was in a conservative synagogue where I would not be allowed to wear it, I really want to get this, but I can't. And this went on for a number of conventions. And then finally, at one convention, and I honestly don't remember which one. And Sharon always was with me and stood there and said, when you're ready, you'll do it. And I looked at her and I said, I'm going to get one today. I just know there will be one here that speaks to me. Well, my Hebrew name is Miriam Esther. And there was a blue talit there with hand-painted Miriam dancing and playing her timbal. I looked at this. The woman assisted me. I took it off the hanger. And for the first time, when I put on a talit, I felt peace. Previous to that, when I tried one on, I would shake, physically shake, knew it wasn't right. I put this one on. I was at peace. I bought it. That's it.
Thank you. Beautiful story. And Marcia and Jeanette.
Oh, thank you, Sharon. I don't know if she's on, but thank you, Sharon.
I used to make talitot for mostly for women, some for guys, but I was doing it back when the only talit you could buy for a woman was a pink striped one. And I would take them to fabric stores and pick out fabric and help them make it and help them tie the tzitzit. And that meant just the world to me. That's it.
Good to know. I might have to recruit you. Jeanette.
Oh, I experienced all the previous ones, but I think back on the first time with my children when we were fulfilling all the mitzvot of Purim together, and the first time that we made all the shalach manot baskets and bags to deliver everywhere and going with them to do that. It was a wonderful tradition that we've continued since. And a wonderful mitzvah.
So I want you all to thank you all for sharing, and put it in your notebook if you have something of like ideas for programs. So I would think, my own humble opinion, that this Mishnah from Pirkei Avot would be a great jumping off point to bring for a pre-Tu B'Shvat program, because it talks about trees and branches and talk about the experiences that people have, something that you've learned that you've put into action, or something you put into action that you want to learn more about. So my obsession with tefillin was because I needed to put the tefillin into action. I needed to wrap tefillin in order to go to rabbinical school. And then I made sure I learned about it. And that's become my life obsession for the past, since 1994, when I finished Barnard. So just an idea to put in. And I love having all of our discussions. And I'm going to turn now to Arlene Fisher, I believe, is reading our list of names for our Kaddish. So Arlene.
Thank you. Thank you. We lovingly remember Ivan Stanton, Sylvia Krause, Herb Lubars, Ellen Babbitt, Theodore Fishman, Richard Merrick, Lillian Tobias, Doris Hildebrandt, Ruth Lewis Bloomfield, Michael Klingbaum, Michael Schrank, Shirley Shapiro, Carol Hope Taub, David Levy, Phyllis Grusin Weinstein, Rabbi Eric Wilner, Isidore Goldberg, Bernard Stein, Martin Fasting, Myrna Fasting, Gloria Miller, Dr. Shulamith Raish Elster, Myrna Samuels. May their memory continue to be a blessing.
Thank you, Arlene. And if anyone has any other names of loved ones who recently passed or that you're saying Kaddish for a yard site, please unmute yourself and add that name at this time. And those who will be reciting Kaddish, please rise and unmute yourself. And those who will be responding, unmute as well. And we'll begin together. My notes don't say that anyone else is leading today, so jump in and just tell me if you are. And we'll begin together. Yitzgadal,
Yitzgash, Haba,
Yehei Shmei Rava Mirava Yalam Yameh Maya Yitbarach Yishtabach Yit'ar Yitamam Yitnaseh Yitadar Yitalech Yitalal Shemei Yekudashah Hu Ela Min Kol Birchata Tishbachata Benechamata Zanheran Yama Imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya Achayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael Nahru Amen. Oseh Shalom V'Lomar Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'Yisrael Nahru Amen. Amen.
Just going to mute people. We have a bit of background noise that I hear. Always good to be with everyone. I apologize. I have a previous meeting tomorrow, so I won't be here. But we have someone teaching, and it is fascinating that we have people muted and then it's still there's noise. I'm not sure why, but it's always good to be together. So Debbie, all yours.
Thank you, Rabbi. So apparently I've missed a newcomer to our call. Marilyn, are you still with us? I understand that you've been on a few times and that you're new. We did not welcome you. Let me see if I can find Marilyn to spotlight her. She may have already gotten off.
And her sister Cheryl, both.
And her sister. Thank you, Margie. I don't see either one. I think they jumped off.
I'm here.
Who is that?
Marilyn.
Marilyn, let me see if I can find you and spotlight you. Marilyn, welcome. I missed you when you started to come on. Would you like to introduce? There you go. Thank you, Rabbi, or whoever did that.
I did that.
Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us who you are, where you're from? No? Okay. Well, we're glad to have you. Welcome. I understand you're saying Kaddish, and so we're glad that we can provide this
My
community to you.
sister is here too, Cheryl
Okay.
Citron,
And just tell us where you're from, Marilyn. I don't know what city you're from.
Long Island,
Okay.
Baldwin.
Thank you very much. And so I understand you and your sister saying Kaddish, and I think it's your father or your mother?
Mother.
Mother. May your mother's memory be for a blessing and welcome, and we're happy that we can be here for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Cheryl, we welcome you also.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Usually we do that, and I missed it, and Margie let us know that we missed it, so we wanted to do that for you. All right, everybody, have a great day, and
Thank
take
you.
care.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe, stay well, and we'll see you tomorrow.